Pop in, say hi. If you've never come to one of my lives before, I am Cindy. I explore the inside and the outside. And this is my second live show that I do every week. And it's not really my second live show, this is my first live show. And what's my good cheer is my second show. But my second show I do 5 days a week. This one I do 1 day a week. And it is kind of a wind down of my week. And it's a moving into my next week. And it's light. I like to keep it light. It doesn't always work out that way, but I let it flow the way it wants to flow. Hello, Owen. Hello. I'm just going to let you know now. My sister's probably going to interrupt the live for a couple of minutes. My nephew lives in the building and she's coming to visit my nephew. And she hasn't seen my apartment since the yard sale we have. And I don't know if she's going to recognize that it looks much different. We'll get her opinion on that. We'll do it live here when she walks in the door. And I know her. She's going to say, oh my goodness, 2 truckloads and it's still this full. It'll be something along that line. Or maybe she'll surprise me and say, oh my goodness, what a big difference, right? It still looks full to me, but things are kind of shuffled around. And I got this great big air conditioner sitting in front of me. And, come fall and winter, that'll be gone and it'll open it right up. And, everything I have right now, even though it might not be in the spot where I want it, I love it. And in this moment, I'm not ready to part with it. I've parted with lots, but I want to feel good about, what I'm designing for myself in my own atmosphere. Hello, Owen. Do you know what I mean? That, this represents me. If the sound went out on my live show or whatever, you could kind of pick up a little bit of Cindy's personality just by what's going on behind me, right? Just by that essence of my decor. Because, the way we decor our homes, right? It says everything about us, right? It says our personalities. Sometimes it tells us about the issues that we have, because sometimes if you go into people's houses, it's like to the ceiling, right from the floor to the ceiling with all their stuff and it's accumulated. They call that hoarding, right? Oh, come on in. I already told them that you're going to be popping in. I just started my live, so come on in.
Well, I could go visit Adrian first.
My live show's till 9. Your hair looks great. Everybody, my sister Alice is here. She's coming to check out my apartment. Remember what I said.
What? What did she say?
Take a look around. And then I'm going to say, this is my sister Alice. Most of you guys have met her already. And we'll see what she says about it.
It's good.
Looks emptier?
Yeah, looks more organized. Hi,
Meatball. That's not what I told him you were going to say.
It looks great.
I thought you were going to say 2 truckloads and it's still this full.
Hi,
Take a look at the coveralls, Alice. Yeah, see, she's feeling much better. She was sick over the winter, wasn't she? She's gained about 2 or 3 pounds.
Yeah.
She's looking so much better. Yeah, she's a good cat. She's such a good cat. Except she kicks her cat litter around. But if that's the least of it, I'm good. I'm good with that. You had a good trip. It's my sister's birthday, you guys, coming up in a couple of days. I was thinking maybe because Tom's playing at the Tap this weekend, this Sunday, should we have a little birthday party for you on Sunday at the Tap? I saw a post on Facebook.
Oh, yeah, on the 19th, I think.
Is it? Oh, that's too late.
Yeah, I think it's on the 19th.
Oh, I thought it was the 12th. And I said, oh, well, that would be a good day to kind of have a little birthday party for her. We could just walk over.
Party. I just want this.
It's a big year for you. It's a big year for you. pull it out and take a look at them.
Oh, they look great.
But here, I'll show you guys the coveralls I made for her.
Oh, these look fantastic.
She loves unicorns.
Oh, man.
So I put them in the back, right? And then the front will just be Disney. So these are the coveralls I'm making for my niece. They're going to Disneyland, my sister's family. And then she likes unicorns. So I put unicorns on the back of it. And I was thinking,
Those are great.
are they?
She's going to love that.
Is she? I was thinking, I'm sorry, you guys, but you guys can listen in the background. I was thinking right there. What do you think? Yeah. Or put them in the back because the back has the flower ones, right? And then, yeah. Okay, go visit Adrian, and then you can come back later. Oh, well, that was pretty good, right? I says, oh, she's going to say, because to me it just looks still full.
Well, it is pretty full.
But
lots of clothes.
I wear everything, though. I got rid of lots of clothes I didn't wear. I got rid of half this wall. All my smalls are gone. Thanks goodness. We did so good, you guys. We had all those smalls that I collected. I had over 200 of them. We made such a fortune. I was going to sell them for like 50 cents a piece, but they were selling so good. My sister jacked the price to $2 just to make a grab on that. Yeah. You can come in and pick a couple of outfits out later, Alice. Yeah. Oh my goodness. So how is everybody's week going? Let me know in the comments. What are these new icons beside your names, you guys? I have no idea. I'll have to do some, it's not really research. It's something I should have probably known already. Let me take a look on here. It's counting how far you came in, who came in first to the live. I'm not sure. I'm sure YouTube has got a notification for me on that. That's the first time. That's the first time I've seen that, you guys. Owen has a YouTube channel. Maybe Owen might know. 3 days at the beach, Owen. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's so nice, especially in the summer. We're just coming out of a heat wave. We're coming out of it. We're getting a couple of days grace, and then we're going to be popping right back into that heat wave. It's going to be well into 30s, which is close to the hundreds in the Fahrenheits. Sorry to hear you guys everything about those floods in Texas. That was isn't that crazy?
So
I couldn't. They found a girl today.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. Huh?
Live?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't know too much. I was trying to find it before I went live because I just got a notification that one of the girls.
Not at where the camp is, but a campground just down the road. She said that the cars were going down the river, and all she could hear was the horns honking. She was mad because the government wasn't sending people to that area because all the cars were piling up.
People were in their cars.
She says there's bodies there. I don't know why they're not coming here to do a search because there's for sure bodies in this one area.
See, doesn't that make sense?
They were all honking the horn and going down the river. Sad, eh?
Wow, so
terrible.
Yeah, so sad.
Yeah,
so sad. Oh my goodness. Yeah, happy to be coming out of this heat wave, you guys. I got this fan. Let me know in the comments how the sound is tonight because I actually have the sound of the fan and the air conditioner going on tonight. Just trying to cool off a little bit. I went for a long walk today. Oh, Alice, my legs are hurting me so bad. That's exactly what it is. And I've been dieting now for 3 days. I haven't lost any weight, but I've been dieting for 3 days, just eating Caesar salad and meat. Yeah. So it's been rough. I noticed, oh, I did find the shoes, and they happen to be the Keen sandals that
Well, I got
happen to
these.
work
I
the
bought these at
best.
Salvation Army the other day for $6.
Oh, they're lovely. I have the same ones in blue. They're very comfortable.
$6.
And you can tighten them the way you want them. Give everybody a wave.
Bye,
Everybody, this is my
everybody.
sister Alice. Oh, Kathy's here. Just in time. I'm doing a new deck, my patent deck. What do you call it when you just do first thing? Just to try it out to see if it works. What do you call that, Alice?
Testing.
No, there's a word for it. Andrew, what do they call that? The prototype. Yeah, so my prototype cards are all cut up and uneven, and I'm feeling a little bit weird on them because every time I pull a card, they happen to be the same card, and it's kind of weird. It freaks me out that I keep picking the same cards, and I'm thinking, oh, maybe when I cut them in odd shapes or something, and that's why I'm feeling these cards and I'm pulling these cards. So I really want to see for myself in the evidence if I'm just like all magic and super duper and I'm pulling magic cards over and over again and it's something I really have to pay attention to, or if I actually cut them wrong. So I got an old paper cutter, and yeah, we're going to be I cut out new cards, and I'm going to do a new deck. But my proto deck has got a lot of great mojo in it. There are only 54 powerful words.
Goodbye, Cindy.
Bye, Alice. Bye, Meatball. And that's my cat, you guys. If you've never popped into one of my lives before, that's my cat. Yeah, so Kathy, you get first dibs on the proto cards if you want them. But if Kathy doesn't want them, anybody here who wants my original deck, like I said, they've got great mojo in them. And if you were to get up in the morning and you're expecting not a good day, and then you just go, oh, how's today going to be? Tell me about something today. And then you can pull yourself a card, and it says influence, and then you can understand that, oh my goodness, maybe today's a good day, to kind of, I don't know, feel out a family member, right? Or to be able to be a good neighbor and give some good advice or something like that, right? I hate to just not use these cards. I wouldn't throw them away. Like I said, I worked on them for over a year, so I'm not getting rid of them. But for manufacturing, I have to have a nice, clean, pressed deck because I want them to be just simple, just the word and a little thought underneath, and a little thought underneath. And this is how my deck, 54 powerful words, is going to be manufactured and distributed, is just that way. But like I said, I kind of put some love and some energy and a few spills on the ground. Oh my goodness. But Kathy, if you would like me to send you this deck of cards, I'd like you to have them. I mean, they're not like, you know, they're just powerful words. But like I said, I put a lot of good energy into that project, and like I said, I won't be able to use them for manufacturing because like I'm dropping them on the floor and I've spilt coffee on them and I've touched them maybe with chocolate on my fingers. Who knows? But they're not in the shape that I would like them. Oh, and plus I've got white out on some of them too because when I was writing something, I'm, oh my goodness, I misspelled that, and then I had to rewrite it and white it out to rewrite it in. without actually putting uh, um, using a new cut card. But yeah, I really enjoyed those 54 powerful words. They keep me motivated and they keep me with the mind, because the way I there we go. The way I use the cards is I would just pull a card, and that would be the word of the day. And I would keep that word in mind in my interactions and in the issues that I had, or in the projects, when I was looking for answers or solutions and stuff. And I go, oh, today's the day. Courage. Okay, phone that bill collector, Cindy. Right? And we should always do those difficult things first thing in the morning anyway, you guys. Don't leave them for the end of the day, because at the end of the day you'll let yourself off the hook, because the reason you're leaving it to the end of the day, that's the procrastination, right? That distraction is because you don't want to make that call, you don't want to deal with the bill collector. And so what do? You leave it all day, you stress about it, you go, oh, I'll do it at 1 o'clock, I'll do it at 2 o'clock, I'll do it at 3 o'clock. And you're driving yourself crazy. And that 4 o'clock, you go, oh my goodness, everybody's going home from work, they all had a bad day, and I'm going to phone them, they're just going to be mean to me, and we'll leave it and we'll do it tomorrow. Meanwhile, you've stressed out all day on something you could have done first thing in the morning, got that off your plate, got that off your mind. And, I am probably the worst advocates for doing stuff like that. For myself, all my life I've been that person in juggling the bills, because
So all of
that
these different groups and
money
stuff, 4
that I
days
had
later,
in my
said he's
life
been paying
was
tribute to them.
was to enjoy my life, to right, life sucked in lots of ways. And I was always about the immediate reward. I was always a hard worker, but sometimes it is that little bag at the end of the stick that gets us motivated to get things done. Yesterday, I had said I was going to go out all day yesterday, and I was going to go for a walk and spend it with Mother Nature. I woke up, and within 15 minutes I was an 85-year-old. Oh my goodness. I don't know if I bent down to pick up a bar of soap or what it was, but oh my goodness, I just walked like Turtle Lady for about 2 hours, still intending to go out for that walk. And then I actually had to give myself a talk, because it's in that recognition that for some reason I have been in my apartment for 3 days. Basically, I might have gone to get a quart of milk, but other than that, I did not. I have to grab those coveralls. No, you're going to eat that. You're going to get sick, and I'll have to take you to the vet to get it out of your throat. She doesn't like it. I like my cat to play, because it's something very new to her. She's 9 years old and she's never played. When I first got her, I tried to play with her. She didn't know anything about. Very loving cat. She loves the pet. She loves to snuggle. You call her, she comes to you. She doesn't. Those cats that you go, come here, and they look at you and they'll, oh, my own time, and like 3 hours later, it shows up at your feet looking for something, not looking for you, looking for a treat or something, right? But you call this cat, she's at your feet in an eye blink, and it's not for a treat. It's this cat loves love more than she loves food, and she loves food. Yeah, she's giving me the old side eye right now, saying, "Come over here and give me a little hug." Usually, when she knows when I'm yapping like this, I am doing my live show, and that's her cue to jump up and go play in her cat litter box for a little bit. But today, I guess maybe because my sister came over and she really does love my sister Alice too. So my sister Alice came over and yeah, she loves on my cat, which is appreciative because my cat doesn't have any friends. You know, this past weekend, one of my neighbors, the paramedics and the fire station, and the fire truck, they all came and they went to the apartment just down the hallway from me. Very nice gentlemen. I don't get to know my neighbors in all honesty. I know a couple of names, a couple of the people here. I am a private person. And because there is a lot of drama in this building, and because I don't involve myself in the drama or the campaigning or in the taking sides, that I just keep to myself. But I'm always pleasant. I always say hello. I always stop and have a little chit chat with people. They know who I am. They don't know much of my story, but they know who I am, and they're always pleasant and I'm always pleasant. And this one gentleman down the hallway, he had the most beautiful cat. It was just a beautiful cat. And he let his cat out in the hallway, and his cat was kind of sniffing the other apartment doors and walking up, just kind of investigating and stuff. So I stopped and we had a little chit chat and told him how beautiful his cat was, and you know, and he told me that his other cat had just passed away. That this cat was 16 years old, didn't look 16 years old. It didn't look very big. It was a small cat too, but it was very one of those cats with the flat faces that I've got Japanese something, and they have the flat faces. One of those cats, and and I kind of jokingly said, if anything happens to you, I'd be happy to take your cat because I think of my cat, and my cat does need company. And I told the caretaker too, should somebody pass away, I says, what do you do with the cats when somebody passes away? They said, well, they take them to the vet. And I says, well, if somebody passes away, they happen to have a cat, well, just come and see me. I might foster it and take care of whatever, finding it a home or whatever, right? Um, Only because I'm thinking, my cat could use a friend. She doesn't play, but I bet that she would enjoy the company of another cat because she is a very loving cat. Even with my sister's dog, she wanted to go and play with the dog and everything, but my cat was almost as big as the dog, so kind of scared the dog, right? And the dog could play tough guy with it. So my cat didn't even bother. My cat didn't even bother with that. Okay, so I don't know where I was in that, so we'll just pull it back and come in and say hi. Oh, awesome, Kathy. I'm going to put them in an envelope. I swear, they are bang on. They are bang on. Just pull yourself a card every once in a while, ask it a question. I tell you, it was probably an amazing idea for me doing this. And actually, another reason why I'm actually making two decks is one will be a working deck for me. The other deck will be for the printing of my decks. But if anything should happen, and I end up being a YouTube superstar, Kathy, they might be worth a pretty penny, right? Maybe one day they'll end up in a museum. You never know. Okay, thank you. I feel good. I've kind of fostered out, right? I've kind of found adopted parentage for my deck of cards here. So that's wonderful. I'll get those sent off to you, Kathy. Okay, let's see how you guys' weeks were going. Andrew says he had a great weekend. Friday, he stayed put. Saturday afternoon, it was too hot to go out in the morning, but I did a lot of shredding and throwing out. Enjoyed it. See, that minimalizing, that Andrew likes to do. I was very surprised that my sister said that it looked good. I know you don't see any difference by looking here, but I had the opportunity this week to dust it all. But I'm keeping this. This is all the stuff that I'm keeping. There was some stuff on some of the shelves that I was able to move along at the yard sale. And this entire wall, my Mother Nature wall, basically all I kept there were my Mother Nature stuff, right? My leaves and acorns and the wood carvings, all my wood carvings, and a few art pieces, pieces that were made by artisans, right? And not necessarily painters or anything like that, but people who worked with metal or worked with wood in their carvings or bent metal. I had some ceramic there, I have some pottery there. Oh, tons of wood carving there. And it's so beautiful. It's going to be with me forever. Lucky person who gets that wall. I'm actually finding signed items on. I was very surprised when I was dusting it, everything, and I was on eBay and I said, "Oh, those look like my seagulls, right?" And it was like seals or something, right, on a piece of wood. And then I said, but mine doesn't have a little plaque on it. But I walked over to my shelf and I looked at my seagulls, and sure enough, it was the same artist, but mine was signed. I guess somewheres when once he started getting popular, he made little metal plaques that he attached to his artwork. But mine is actually signed and dated by the artist himself. So mine is probably worth a whole lot more than anything that's being sold on eBay right now. But I have lots of things like that, right? Going on that wall. Remember, I was at that little thrift store for 5 years. It was hard for me, and I'd like to say that I was pretty picky, but managing to get 2 truckloads of just my stuff to the yard sale, I did unload a lot. I did have a lot of stuff that I didn't use. I was pretty glad that that was done. We still haven't taken the donations to the charity store, but we'll be doing that, I'm sure, sometime this week. Right? It was stressful. It was a hard work putting on a yard sale. Right? I This week was actually the first week where I totally crashed and did nothing after that yard sale, because I've been getting ready for the yard sale ever since I knew we were going to have it. I've been cleaning out cupboards and going through everything and dusting and washing everything down corner to corner, and just staying in that speed mode that I pretty much crashed this week. Like I said yesterday, I tried to go out, but oh my goodness, I felt like I was 85 years old yesterday. And then I woke up this morning, right, pretty convinced that today was going to be pretty much a write off, but it was going to be a cloudy, dreary day. And the way I felt yesterday, and knowing I was going to feel the same way today, I was already prepared just I enjoy what I'm doing, but it's important for me to connect with Mother Nature. And going for that walk today, and I went for a walk for a few hours today, but going for that walk, uh, I could tell that I wasn't quite 100% for my sore back, but I was so happy to be outside. I just meandered, looked at people's yards, stopped and talked to people while they were doing yard projects. And I tell you, and the area that I go for walks are just a whole bunch of old houses, and the way the people are fixing up these houses. And in the old days, right, your front yard, you could probably put 2 houses on, and people out there are putting like gardens and benches and patio sets and vegetable gardens, and it's just amazing. I actually walked in. I was walking by this one lot between 2 houses, but it was all trees. You couldn't see in. but a halfway down the sidewalk, I looked down, and it looked like, like little brick walkway going into the bushes. So I just kind of like went like this in the bushes, and sure enough, it was a walkway. And so again, it was one of those great big houses. They must have knocked it down because they're going to put an apartment building there or something. And they just let the lot grew out, and it had hedges, but it also had trees and plants. So it didn't take long, probably just the one spring, and everything filled right up. You would never have known. It was only the fact that I saw the brick walkway there at the edge of the sidewalk that I knew that, oh my goodness, this must have been a house here at one time. And I went like this and I walked in. It was so pretty. This person had plants that they probably, right, planted in their garden 100 years ago. You could still see how meticulous and well planned out it was. I only went in there, well, I went in there to kind of take a look, enchanted garden and all that. And I'm meandering, and I was happy to be out. But then I thought, oh, maybe they got rhubarb in here. I'm sure there's going to be rhubarb. And I found the rhubarb patch, and I looked all through the rhubarb, and all the stems were like skinnier than my baby finger, long and tall, and starting to turn pink. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, like where's all the rhubarb? Right? And then I found another spot on my walk and looked at the rhubarb. It was the same thing. And I'm thinking, just maybe on this end of town, because I went to my sister's place at that yard sale and I just raided her garden of all the rhubarb, and it was so good. Well, in all honesty, it wasn't ready yet, but I knew I wasn't going to get out there. So I grabbed all the rhubarb. And, my mother showed me the trick. When you could eat the rhubarb once it's at that thickness, right? It is sour, but you're putting sugar in the rhubarb anyway when you're stewing it, right? The trick to that is just to put a couple of drops of red food coloring into it. That's your trick. And nobody would ever know because the taste is still exactly the same. Even the tartness is out of it when you add the sugar, and you're not putting much more sugar in it than if it was super ripe, because even when rhubarb is super ripe, it's still very tart, right? So yeah, 2 days in a row, and all that rhubarb that I got on my niece's garden was all gone. I love rhubarb. I didn't realize how much I really loved um, um, rhubarb. So I went to the grocery store, and my intent was to buy some rhubarb because I know at this time of year they sell rhubarb at the grocery store. 3.99 a pound, you guys. I could not believe the rhubarb was $3.99 spent. Like one stem of rhubarb would have been $3.99. That's not enough to make anything, right? You need at least six of those to be able to make a pie, right? And probably the same amount to be able to stew it, right? My mother used to stew the rhubarb, and she kept it in a bowl in the fridge, and we used to have rhubarb and toast for breakfast. It was delicious. I loved rhubarb and toast, and it was a good way to make a treat for the family. For myself, when I got this rhubarb, I made cobbler with Bisquick. It was really good. So I made the rhubarb stew, let it simmer, and then I poured it into a bottom of a baking dish, and I added Bisquick and threw it in the oven. It was absolutely delicious. If I had had any whipping cream or ice cream, it would have been 10 times more delicious, but it was pretty delicious just as it was. Summertime, I love fruit in the summertime. I don't eat a lot of fruit in the wintertime, and that's when you need it the most. But I do a lot of vitamin C anyway in the winter. But 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 in the summertime I do, right? I was looking at the watermelon yesterday, and I love pears. Oh my goodness. I I have to say, well, I'm beginning to love mangoes too. Mangoes is a new fruit for me. I was probably introduced to mangoes probably about 5 years ago. When I, well, maybe a little bit longer, I might have tried it, but but right, because I wasn't familiar with it, I never right tried it again. But yeah, mangoes are something that I'm starting to really appreciate now. Mangoes are from the Philippines, I do believe. Um, but yeah, I really like mangoes, but I love pears. I love peaches too, but I don't like the fuzzy stuff on the peaches. So I usually eat very ripe nectarines, and I don't eat as many peaches unless they're in a can. But I like canned peaches too, and I'll do the same thing with my canned peaches. I'll slice up my peaches if they're not sliced already, and then I'll just put them in a baking dish, right? And then I'll just add. Sometimes I'll sprinkle a little cornstarch on top just to thicken up the juices from the can, and then I'll just pour the Bisquick right on top and bake. It only takes like 15 minutes, and you have an amazing dessert. Very simple, easy dessert that anybody can do. Oh, you like the peaches. Yeah, I love peaches. How do you handle, do you mind, Kathy, the fuzzy stuff on the peaches? It really bothers me, the fuzzy stuff on the peaches. I really do. It's why I don't eat the peaches, right? It's because of that fuzzy stuff, right? Just the feel of it on my tongue and on my lips and the roof of my mouth. I'm just feeling it. Yeah, peaches. I like peaches, but in the can, you don't mind the skin at all. That's good. And that's where all the nutrients are, right? What's your favorite fruit, Andrew? Owen, what's your favorite fruit? Yeah, I have to say that pears are my favorite fruit. Berries, my favorite berry is the blackberry. You don't get blackberries here in Manitoba. It's too cold for the vines to survive. We do get wild raspberries and wild strawberries. We can grow crab apples here, some smaller, uh, weather resistant apple trees. We can grow them here, but not like the Macintosh apples or anything like that, right? And plums. I was very surprised that plums do very well here, and I love plums. I really love plums. Yeah, that was another favorite of mine. We used to might grab all these fruits overhanging the fences and stuff. We go up and down the lanes and we collect all the fruits that you could imagine. And as cute little kids, people would just say, "Oh, come into my yard and pick up all the apples and pears off the ground. They're gonna go bad." And my mother didn't care if they were bruised because she was canning everything anyway, so she would just cut out the anything that was soft or anything. And right, my mother saved so much money from all the fruit. She'd always say, "Oh, go to Stanley Park, you guys. You get me hand us an ice cream pail." She goes, "Go get me some huckleberries, and I'll make you a huckleberry pie if you can fill up enough to make huckleberries." I think she just did it to get rid of us because you know how long it takes. Well, you could never collect enough huckleberries to fill up an ice cream pail. If you were really lucky and worked really hard, and all us kids worked as a team, maybe we could do a half a pail of huckleberries. But huckleberries are so tiny, like half the size of my baby fingernail. They're tiny. They're tiny, tiny, tiny orange red berries, right? But yeah, they grew abundance in Vancouver, but they need lots of water, and they need a pretty mild climate too. They don't do well in the cold extremes. Oh, Andrew likes the peaches too. Oh my goodness. Yeah, like I said, I'd probably go with the nectarine as a second favorite. And who doesn't like pineapple, right? Who doesn't? Oh my! I think I love. all the fruit. I don't think I would try that fruit. What's that stinky fruit? Moncton fruit. I've never tried that, but they say unless you plug your nose when you go to cut up the fruit, you would never ever touch the fruit. Never. As soon as you smelt it once, you would never want to touch the fruit ever again. But if you ate the fruit with your nose plugs on, you would think it was so delicious. You would probably think it was one of your favorite fruits, people say. Oh, yeah, strawberry shortcake and whipped cream. It was my sister's birthday on the 9th, and so oh, no, on the last month. It was her birthday last month. And I went out and I made her homemade strawberry shortcake with real strawberries, real whipping cream. And I did the cakes really nice. I made two cakes and I stacked them on top. And right. And I took my time making them so they should be all impressed. And then I phoned her and I says, "What time's everybody getting together?" She goes, "Oh," she says, me and my daughter were just Ashley, right? We're just gonna have some Chinese food tonight. And guess what, Cindy? Right? They bought me a strawberry shortcake. It's her favorite fruit. Usually at our birthday, we usually get our favorite birthday cakes. You know, some of us like the store bought cake. Some of us like make homemade cakes, and my sister Carolyn, she loves the strawberry shortcake. I love the white, just a basic white iced cake with coconut, mm, or a chocolate cake with white icing and coconut. Either or. Coconut cakes. I like the coconut cakes. We're all talking about desserts tonight, you guys. Maybe it has some. I've been watching my food intake for the past few days. I haven't lost any weight yet, but I've been just kind of watching what I eat. I'm right taking my vitamins, trying to eat a little bit more protein. And I decided today because, I did sit down twice, only sat down for a minute. But usually I'm that person who could just walk and walk and walk. And right, as long as I got a good pair of shoes on, I'm good to walk and walk. Today I sat down twice for a minute and just to get my weight off. Oh, that's what it is because I gained the weight. That's what it is, right? I felt it in my legs, but when I felt it in my legs, it wasn't my signal to stop taking my walks. It's saying, "Oh, Cindy, you got to be a little bit more physically more active, right?" Because when I was working, it was like Speedy Gonzalez, right? It was like the Road Runner. I did not stop, right? They used to give me heck all the time because I would never take breaks because I always felt if I took a break that the place would fall apart. So I would just always keep going, right? But I don't do that at the moment. And I notice when I go for my evening walks, my legs are taking a little bit of a brunt. So I decided today, no matter what, we have to get outside every single day. Even if we're just going to go for a walk around the block, we're going to go for a walk every second day. But I couldn't yesterday. Oh my goodness. Like I said, I felt like I got run over by a pickup truck. I just right, and it was so instant, and I just like, oh my goodness, and I just shuffled around my apartment all day, right? And then I actually thought, oh, maybe I'll take a nap today. Maybe today's a good day to take it. I didn't even I didn't bother that. All right, I just stuck to my regular routine, but I felt bad. So today I was so happy when I got up and I went and I was kind of walking and shuffling because I expected to be not feeling good, but then I noticed, oh, wait, oh, what did it go? How did that happen? How did it go away? And it just went away on its own. So maybe I just pulled something, and then when I rolled over in the night, I pushed it back in place or something. But woke up today, and I was all back to normal. So I thought that was pretty cool. So I said, okay, we're going for a walk, and we're gonna do the laundry. I got the walk in, and laundry can wait one more day. Tomorrow could be laundry day. I've done enough for today. Yeah. But yeah, I like the shortcake. What's your favorite fruit, Owen? Oh my goodness. Oh, I still feel like we're in the middle of the heat wave, but the you can't see anything in the sky because now those dark clouds are rolling in. They're saying tomorrow it's supposed to be raining and stuff. We'll see. They haven't gotten the weather right once this week, in all honesty. Yeah. But isn't that strange? I was just saying this week that it's something that we don't have any control over. Is It's the one thing that we can't predict, and I felt kind of bad for everybody because everybody's out there searching for these people in this big flood that happened in Texas, and everybody is already looking to blame, to pass, to make it somebody's fault. They even made it Donald Trump's fault, right? For cutting funding for, right? And so, right, it can't just be one person's decision that makes it so that they're responsible for everything, right? That's a hard pill to swallow. That's right. It's not fair to make one agency or one person or one group of people accountable for such a tragedy. So I feel really, really bad that everybody is, already just the finger. I understand like these things shouldn't happen, but they do happen. It's Mother Nature, and Mother Nature is king, right? Like that's the weather is one thing that humans have just not been able to get a handle of. Actually, I was just saying on my other show this week, we were saying that, the people in the Middle East, the billionaires and the trillionaires, they see the clouds so that it can rain, and they're making oases, and they're filling up ponds, and they're growing grass and plants and palm trees and making it a beautiful oasis. But what happens when you don't water those plants? What happens if those trillions and billions of dollars just kind of go puff up smoke? What is the first thing you're going to sacrifice in that necessity to buckle down financially? Right? It would be the oasis. But to say something to that benefit, once the oasis is rooted in. And I learned this from a gentleman. He's in the Arizona desert right now, and he's trying to bring back life to the desert. And he's looking for different solutions because uh, the 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 rain, when it rains in the desert and they only get 1 or 2 inches a year or something of rain, that when it hits the ground, the sand just absorbs it, right? So they've been digging little pits everywhere. So when these 2 inches of rain come in, they flow into these pits, and they're held as reservoirs. And these pits are only, I don't know, 3 feet by 2 feet. And there are hundreds of them. And he's actually they brought in beavers. What else did he do? He's got all kinds of guests that come on his show. They do lots of experiences. They do underground, what do you call that? Like tool sheds, and cool places where they can grow plants and harvest in cooler temperatures. They're trying to hold the water in the ground, and that's what happens, in these deserts, is because the forests and the land were depleted, whether to make housing or to burn wood for fires and for cooking. And once that those plants are gone, there's nothing to control and regulate the ground in any way, so that when it rains, it just kind of seeps right into the ground and it doesn't benefit anything because it just moves, right? And so they're trying to hold on to the water, and the guy is actually doing really, really well. I watch his videos every once in a while, and his land is starting to green up. So I'm thinking in the Middle East, with them seeding the clouds and then building these oases, there will come a point when these oases will be able to take care of themselves a little bit. There's another program I watch, but this one's a little bit different. This one is a guy, and there's a little spring out in the desert, just a little spring, and when he found it, he just found it as a wet patch of mud on the ground. But he noticed the wild horses were trying to get water out of this little pile of mud that was there. So him and his buddy got out of their truck and they cleared the pit. Now I can't tell you the name of his channel because his channel only blew up because of what was going on with the horses. He's a desert drifter. He just wanders the desert and looks for adventures that way. And this is an adventure that he happened onto. He decided he was going to clear this little mud puddle that was sitting in the desert that the horses were trying to get water from. And he cleared it, and he saw that there was an actual pipe there that somebody actually had threaded a pipe, and it was a clay pipe, so it had been there for a very, very long time, but it had clogged up with mud over the years, and he doesn't know whether it was from, like, maybe there was a homestead or something around there at some point. But it's just desert. You look at it, it's just desert, right? And so him and his buddy, they cleared the hole in the pipe, and when they came back the next day. And when they came back the next day, they had about a 700 square foot reservoir of water, and the horses were enthralled. The horses, the cantaloupe, the donkeys, and it hooked me right away. So he set up cameras, right? And he set up those camtrail cameras, and so I've been watching the horses in this spring that's popping up in the desert, and it was such a great thing. It was such, like, helping the animals and stuff. Like, there was nothing coming out of this this spring. It was just, you could see it was a wet spot because drip, drip, drip. So it was a wet spot, but it was just mud. And he actually got it into like a little pond. And he came out a few days later to pick up his camera, and the horses kicked all the mud back up the pipe, and it clogged again, and all the water was gone. So for the past few weeks, he's been looking for solutions how to permanently fix that. He's been covering the rocks over the pipe opening and stuff so it doesn't clog up with mud, because the horses kick stuff in there, right? But nothing seems to be working. But his channel is blowing up so well, like it's one of those viral kind of things, because he was just went out there, just did kind things for the horses, and now the horses need that fresh water, and the all the horses, like, you could see trails coming to that little, so horses from all around travel the distance to come to that spot. So for the past few weeks, he's been looking for solutions to permanently fix that, so that those horses could have their spring back. Can you imagine the horses having a spring? How nice and cold that water would be, and how much it would be needed, especially in the Arizona desert, right? With the Arizona desert, that's the Sahara, right? Is that the Sahara? No, that's not the Sahara. I don't know what desert it is in yeah, in Arizona. I don't know what they call that desert. Does anybody know what that desert is in Arizona? Okay. Uh, Andrew says, my place doesn't look different either, but it feels good to have shredded and discarded so much, even if no one else would see the difference. I'm also making more time for reading. Yeah, I get what you're saying, Andrew, because you know what? I'm so happy with my house right now. Completely dusted, completely vacuumed and cleaned, and every corner washed. All the junk is gone, piles and piles, right? But my desk, I did it clean, but right, I was in it lots in the process of the garage sale, looking for tape and more, right, in my projects for getting ready for my camping trip and stuff. So yeah, I need to go through my cupboards, but I have lots of important papers too, and I worry about them because lots of them are like the government stuff, and I don't know why the government still, right, writes your social insurance number on their what do you call that? Their conversations with you, right? Their communications with you. Like that's private information. Even the bank will only give you the last three numbers of your account. They should be doing something like that. But yeah, I need to shred all my stuff too. But I just rip it all up, right? Okay. Oh, Mojave, thank you, Andrew. The Mojave, that actually sounds like a desert from the Middle East. The heat is not something that I deal well with, so when I look at some of these countries that, I would love to visit, it'd probably be very difficult for me to really enjoy myself in that heat, especially if, um, like when you're in, what do you call that? Three, third world countries, like India and the streets of India when it gets really, really hot because they don't have good infrastructure in India. And if you wanted to go to the market, right, those smells and those heats, I'd probably be fainting at least once every. I'm not a fainter, but I don't think I would enjoy it. I don't do well with the heat in any way, right? I much prefer the cold to the heat any day. That's a truth. And that's a hard truth to take right now because we're coming out of the ice age now. We're still in the ice age, you guys. We're coming out of it now. And look how hot it is, right? The whole world is just heating up. I've been doing lots of research in the history when it comes to geology. I'm trying to pinpoint some good areas to be when when uh when it becomes unbearable, you know what I mean? They're saying like Antarctica is thawing out, and they also discovered, I was just reading an article, they under Antarctica in the ocean actually, they are finding ancient trees, palm trees, and tropical, right, landscapes underneath the watershed. So and I get that because even here in Manitoba, we used to be a great sea, right? So all our landscapes have been different at a time, and it changes with the seasons. And sometimes those cheap seasons last a year, sometimes they last 1,000 years, sometimes 100,000 years, but sometimes without warning, right? Like that Texas flood that is nobody to blame for that, and that's what's so disheartening that they're actually making the witch hunt in that. And it's right. Let's concentrate. I heard they found another girl today, alive. So I was just before I came in live, I got wind of it, and I was going to go in and do a little googling and see if I could get the story on that. But I had to come in live, and then my sister phoned me. She says, "I'm going to come by and see your apartment," and I went, "Oh, okay, I'm doing my live." After I hung up on her, I was, oh my goodness, she doesn't know I got to do my live show. That she'll have to come in and say hi to everybody, right? So yeah. And then, like I said, I'm making a pair of coveralls for my. Oh, you guys. Like I said, felt 85 years old, but I feel pretty good today, right? Compared to what I was yesterday. And I'm going to give myself that opportunity to be a little bit achy in this moment because I did go for a 3 hour walk and I thought about it and I said, "Yeah, I'm looking forward to a walk." And even when I was walking, I says, "You know what? If I don't feel good, right? If it's too much for me, I will turn around and I will go home." And I enjoyed my walk today so much. And then so I just said, we're going to make this. If I can manage, we're going to go for a walk every single day. I used to do it every single day. There's no reason why I can't do that now, right? And also, today I was thinking I have the opportunity to take a free course from the university, Simon Fraser University out of British Columbia. They have a free course that I can actually be accredited for, and it's an addictions course on addictions. And I thought I would like to take that. I wanted to take that course 6 months ago, but because I was working, because I was in the lessons, I just couldn't fit it into my life. And here I am. I've been off work now for 4 months, but it just took me 4 months to catch up to everything. So now I have that free time. I think tomorrow I'm going to search down that course and see if it's still available to me. The public, it's a course that they set up for nurses and doctors and surgeons, but they made it open to the public and it's accredited. Like I'll be credited, certified in addictions. So we're going to get on that tomorrow. I'm going to write that right down as my main goal, and we're going to work on it first thing tomorrow morning, right? This will be my project for the day, and I will bite into it first thing, right? Because we know that we procrastinate. Oh, we'll do it in an hour. We'll do it this afternoon, right? Oh my goodness, they must be getting ready for work or ready to go home. I don't want to bother people, right? We'll try again tomorrow. And you didn't even try today, right? So yeah. So only one goal to well, two goals. We're going to go for a walk tomorrow and we're going to get the course, download the course, right? And it's a great course. Anybody who's in the medical field, anybody who's in the social work field, anybody who's in the life coach game, right? It's a good one, right? Because people want to talk to people who know what they're talking about. And you can know what I can know what I know what I'm talking about, right? But that idea that somebody's putting their faith in you and their trust in you and you're a stranger, somebody you don't know, it's a little bit easier to digest if you have the evidence, if you have the backup, right? If you have that certification. And because that's the direction that I'm going in, right? I don't know if I'm going to, right, go for that top 1%. And right, I do want to help the light and the darknesses and the darknesses in their light, right? Because even they're the most special, right? Because they're touching the light for the very first time, possibly in their entire life. And that's got to be really, really scary, especially if you've known nothing else in your entire life besides the darkness. And lots of people, right? they give it a fair shot, but there's not enough help out there for the people who are giving it their fair shot, right? I have worked with, right, my own dynamic family, my dynamic friends, my dynamic customers, right? It is in those relationships that come across our paths that we get to recognize whether or not we can really help somebody or not. And it gives us a good clue and a good indication of what we can do, right? In putting that roof over my head. I always wanted to help that way because I understand, right, that purpose comes from your pain. And because of my own experiences, I thought, I could help people like me. I could help people who are not even like me, but at the same time, right, they really do need to still be their own bosses, that they have created an existence for themselves that makes it difficult for them to work for other people, to be dictated by other people. So, that's why I'm with the entrepreneurs, right? That because empaths, they highly sensitive, they should be their own bosses, but because again, they're empaths and they're highly sensitive, it's not like we're special needs, but we have special needs. But the most important need that we have is to be our own bosses, to be able to dictate that roof over our heads. It's one of the reasons that I get a job and right away I was going for the top. I needed the supervisor. I needed the manager, right? Because those were the positions where you didn't have as much breathing on your neck. But on the other hand, right? You are accountable to the owners, right? You're accountable to general. You're always answerable to somebody, right? But I always felt it easier for me because, you know, I could run a good show if, right, I had a team that because I was in charge, they didn't really have much choice but to follow my dictation and be the evidence in that dictation that I could do it. And it was probably better if right, because I could always find solutions my entire life, right? Whether it was finding solutions in the schedule or finding solutions in how to make money, right? I used to love to do the club promoting and stuff. It was something I was naturally talented at. Wasn't something I particularly liked, right? Because, being somebody who just likes to hang out with themselves, and because I don't know the person I'm talking to, I usually wait to see what's coming across my path. I don't usually search out. I have to be absolutely enthralled, and I have to be curious, and I have to be pretty darn determined to be able to, well, move that way anyway. Okay, let's come in here and see what's going on. Cindy, I think of the house near me that was so overgrown it was invisible through only about 10 feet from the street. Yeah, I could have easily, but I could see all the houses on that street. They were so gigantic, like those big old houses with three different floors and the basement. You know which ones I'm talking, with the wraparound porches, great big huge front yards. And when you see those houses and then all of a sudden there's a great big space in between two with just trees, you either got one of those houses with a double lot, I'm thinking, or somebody has pulled the house out. And sure enough, when I saw those bricks there, I knew somebody had gotten rid of the house. I can't remember what the house looked like in that spot. And I walk down that street all the time. It's one of my favorite streets when I go for walks and stuff because the big old houses. I love those big old houses. Hmm. Yeah. The American bungalow is my favorite house. The 1960s, 1970 ranches, they're pretty nice too. But for me, I love the built-ins. So it's usually the American bungalow that I really love is the American bungalow. We're going to send some good cheer. I live behind a fire truck. If you've never popped into one of my lives, I live behind a fire station, so the fire trucks usually use this main drag in front of me here to get to their destination. And I hope that destination's a false alarm. They're going to get there. It's going to be a false alarm. They're going to turn around. I know it's not barbecue night because it does look like it's about to downpour. I haven't looked at my phone, but like I said, there isn't much point in that at looking at the Weather Channel because they just can't get it. They just can't get it right. They try. They try. Oh my goodness. Let's just take a quick look here and see what it says. Because to me, it looks like it's about to rain. And they've got nothing showing. They've got nothing showing for rain at all tonight. Tomorrow. A little bit of drizzle tomorrow. That'll be nice. And the temperature's going to be a little bit cooler tomorrow. 23 is the high. They said the high today was going to be 21. I think it made up to like 24 degrees today. So it was a very nice day. Me and the cat slept very good last night. I have to wear a pair of winter socks when I go to bed because my air conditioner is at my feet, right? And because I'm always kicking off the blankets, I don't want to get a cold. And actually, I don't think I'm going to not notice if I kick off the blanket because my air conditioner works so well. It just instantly freezes my feet and just the coldness wakes me up in that. Mm. Yeah, but interesting. I wish I knew the name of that show. I know the people who hang out with me would have loved that horse one because he sets up the trail camera in the desert, and he also has a drone, so he puts his drone up in the air, and when he looks down, you could see the different groups because the horses they live in groups, right? In herds, they live in herds and each herd has their own trail and across the desert you can see little trails that go for like miles at a time and you can see the horses walking towards the spring in the desert. I haven't watched them at all this week. I've been just pretty much in my contemplation this week, and also looking at that little bit of movement I want to make and trying to figure out how I would like to go about it, right? To me, I like everything just kind of handed to me. I like to walk into the changes in my life. It's why I start on the changes. As soon as I recognize that a change has to be made, I start hacking away at it because there's nothing worse than those surprises, those things that fall apart upon us and right we have to tread water literally like what happened yesterday in Texas. Oh my goodness, that really caught my attention today when I heard about that. So many families and especially at 4th of July. Oh baby, but I didn't even say happy 4th of July, you guys. How was your 4th of July? And I didn't show you for coveralls. So, like I said, I got the Mickey Mouse up the front. I got Daffy Duck. This sticker here, if you had to buy it on eBay, is $25. I think I paid 50 cents for it at work. And then I got like Minnie Mouse down here. I think my sister's going to order me some princess patches so I can sew them on. Um, and then on the bottom, because she loves unicorns, I patched up a couple of unicorns and put a few iron-ons on there. But look at those hems I made, you guys. Aren't those cute? Those little hems that I made. Each one I did a good job. I just stitched all the way around the bottom so they were secure, and then they had the little pouch there on each one, and then I just buttoned. I put little candy buttons on both sides in there. They're so cute. Yeah, so they're almost ready to go. casually now as we come across the Disney patches. I'll sew them. I'll sew them on for her. But yeah, my sister seems to think she'll be pretty excited to see it. My great niece still doesn't know she's going to Disneyland. And my niece is pregnant again. So we have another baby coming into the family. So that's pretty amazing, right? Our bloodline is moving along. If we could get my nephew moving along, that would make me super happy. He actually said last time we had a conversation, we talked about wives and stuff, right? He needs to be taken care of. He's that kind of a guy. He needs to be served. He needs to feel like he's a king. He needs to be loved on a little bit, right? And last time we talked, he thought, "Oh, Cindy, maybe you're right. Maybe I will start looking for a girlfriend, right?" And he has girlies in his life, but when he said girlfriend, he kind of meant somebody serious, and so that made me happy to hear that. So now we're gonna have another one, so that makes it one great niece, and well, we don't know if it's going to be a boy or girl, right? And I still have my nephew who isn't married and doesn't have children yet, and I have my other niece, Ashley, who's not married and doesn't have any children yet, right? Grace is the ones that's popping them out for us, right? So far, girls, but maybe she'll be like my mom and just have all girls. My mom had four girls, and then my dad wanted to keep trying until he had his boy, but my mom said no, that was it. So she made my dad get his tubes tied, right? And said, no, guys, don't get tubes tied. Vasectomy, guys. He made my dad go in for a vasectomy. So my dad didn't get his boy, but each one of us girls had a boy's nickname. I got to go to all the BC Lion games because we lived in BC in Vancouver at the time. Went to all the the BC Cats, which was our soccer team, and then our Vancouver Canucks, which was our hockey team. My dad loved sports, and because he used to get right, people liked my dad. My everybody was always giving my dad tickets for something, the symphony or a play or right or a hockey game or a football. My dad was always getting that stuff, and he always took me right? And we all had different male names, right? Our nicknames always, you know, my nickname is actually Cindy. My real name is Cynthia, right? The only time I heard that name Cynthia in my family is when I was in trouble. If my dad ever said Cynthia, I knew I was in big trouble. My mother, she didn't usually refer to me by any name at all. It was just kind of like, get in here or point you. Right? But yeah, it's interesting, how I grew up and my dad was very loving and he didn't turn me into a tomboy or anything. I was very adventurous, but I was never a tomboy. I liked the boys right from the very beginning, and but yeah, he did like to take me to the football games and the hockey games and all that stuff because he didn't have a son himself, right? And no point in him going to these games. That's no fun, right? And even though I spent most of the time at the stand, I still had lots of fun, right? Anything that my dad wanted me to be a partner in crime in, I was all in for that. Well, it's good to hear that everybody is doing okay. Like I said, this week, like even in just in the past few days, were kind of heavy, but woke up this morning and my whole life brightened up when that pain was out of my back and I knew I was going to be able to go out because I had written today off. When I went to bed last night, I pretty much wrote today off as something that was going to be uncomfortable, that I wasn't going to get anything done. I probably wouldn't even get the laundry done. I'd probably just be sitting here in my chair, very, very uncomfortable. Yesterday, even, I danced. I have a playlist, an 80s playlist, and I've been dancing. I'm trying to right be active and move around and stuff. So the way I do it is I dance to the 80s tune. And the 80s, they were all dancing tune. Even the soft rock was danceable, right? A lot of the stuff now going on, it's not as danceable as it used to be. A lot of rap going on, right? No offense to the rap, but it's just in the choice of music of this generation compared to my generation. I really like the soft rock. I like the pop too. I like the disco, but I'm very surprised, that I'm not very good with the words to these songs. My 80s playlist today, I put it on, and I just notice every once in a while I just jump in on the chorus and sing along with the chorus. And then as soon as it went back and then the words, I just go back into my dancing, right? And got a little bit of exercise and probably loosened myself up a little bit in doing that too, right? Loosened everything up a little bit so that things weren't so tight. Maybe that's why I woke up a whole lot better today, right? It was very surprising. It was very unexpected because you would never have guessed it because I really did not feel good. Because on the norm, if I'm not feeling really good, I'll say, oh, a walk will make me feel so much better. And I'll go on the walk anyway. But I knew yesterday that, going for a walk today was not going to do me any good. But back to normal. Oh my goodness. That was a little bit of a happy break on that. And I got my walk in tonight, got a little bit of visiting my sister today. My house is clean, the dishes are done, my live show, right? And then, yeah, rest of the evening, probably for myself, probably just get in my pajamas now and just work on my trip for September to see if it's going to be manageable, you guys. Yeah. I'm not too far off, but at the same time, right? It is going to be a struggle, and I don't want to sacrifice my personal life right now, right? Because going on a meat diet, kind of my sister likes the keto, so I've been just kind of trying the keto. I can't go 100% keto, but again, when I'm dieting, I like that fruit. But yeah, I'm taking in more meat, and that meat is expensive. I paid $30 for a tube of hamburger this big, right? It was fairly big, but $30. I got 12 hamburger patties, two packages of raw hamburger, right? I just put them in sandwich bags because, whether I want to make like some hibachi or if I want to make some meatballs or something like that, I have some raw hamburger. But I made 12 patties. I made a meatloaf. I made the raw hamburger patties. And then, yeah, and I've been eating hamburgers, frying up a couple of hamburgers and eating Caesar salad, and it's absolutely delicious. And I feel very good at that. But like I said, I haven't lost any weight yet. Might take me a few days, but maybe that walk that I took today will be a little bit helpful, right? We'll see. I'm not killing myself. If I don't lose any weight, I'm good with that as long as I'm healthy. I was just a little bit concerned that just a little bit too much weight on my feet, and I want to be that walker when I'm 85 years old, right? I want to be able to ride my mountain bike when I'm 85 years old, to be able to motor around. So I want to make sure that I'm taking care of myself, right? And if that means doing a little bit more exercise, that's exactly what I'm going to do. Okay, you guys, let's call it a night tonight. I haven't eaten dinner yet, so I'm going to cook myself up some dinner, go see if my sister is still here, spend a few minutes with my sisters before she takes off. She came to visit her son. Her son lives in the same building as I do. I don't see him as often, but he's on his own journey too. And yeah, I'm not sure. We don't rub each other unwell in any way at all, but at the same time, I'm supposed to be spending a little bit of time with myself on myself. And yeah, he's very generous by keeping that time and that distance because he knows he's in it too. He's doing his own thing, right? He's like my mother. He loves Jesus, right? But yeah, it's kind of neat that I actually have family doing the same thing that I'm doing. Well, not doing the same thing I'm doing, but on the same kind of journey, just a little bit different, right? Choices, right? Choices. Okay, everybody. That's it for tonight. I'll be back tomorrow. What's my good cheer? I'm not sure when I'll pop in. If you want to pop in, say hi. If not, we'll see you next Sunday. If anything happens during this week interesting, or if you need a friend or somebody to talk to, you guys know how to get a hold of me. You guys don't hesitate, okay? Okay, you guys, have a great night.